Right. So, hello and welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining us today, World Voice Day 2024. We present today a program to help singers understand their voice better and use their singing voice with greater awareness. So, before we even begin everything, we will first play out a video as to what's in line for today.
On the occasion of World Voice Day, let me take this opportunity to congratulate all those people who use their voice for various purposes. Maybe it's singing, maybe it's voiceover, maybe it's talking, giving speeches. Let's all celebrate World Voice Day.
So that really sets the tone for the evening. And we have another one short video clip of Himangi speaking about her experience with voice training. And then we begin the show.
Hi all, my name is Himangi Vishwarup and I want to talk about the voice gym course which is offered by SMA. Before this course, I always used to struggle with my voice, with the kind of throw people used to make, and then my vocal range was very limited. And I didn't understand what I was not doing or what was missing. Even after doing riyaz after riyaz after riyaz, I was not able to tap into my higher notes with an ease. It always used to be a struggle. And then I came across voice gym course and I was like, yeah, let me try this. And to my surprise, right after the course ended, I started realizing I was doing so many things the wrong way. I had all the tools now to tap into the higher notes with an ease. I was really fortunate to learn from Rama ma'am, who not only taught me a lot of technical details, but also she helped me get over all my emotional blockages and clear out my subconscious, which was holding me back. So in all, I really recommend this course to all the aspiring singers, that they should attend this course at least once in their lifetime and see the magic that happens with their voice.
Okay, so World Voice Day falls on the 16th of April every year. On this day, we have come together today to celebrate all those people whose work or passion depends on their voice. Singers, vocalists, playback artists, voiceover artists, people who give lectures, speeches, and talks. And we have come together to explore the art and craft of using the singing voice with greater awareness. So, this World Voice Day, Shankar Mahadevan Academy brings you the singer's voice, a live question and answer session with Rama Vaidyanathan, a renowned voice coach, trainer, and therapist. Rama has been associated with the Shankar Mahadevan Academy, or SMA, for the past 11 years. She has designed the 4-part series of Shankar Mahadevan Academy's highly effective voice gym program, and she teaches the voice gym course at SMA. Rama helps actors, teachers, singers, lawyers, and voiceover professionals use their voice to their best capacity. She also helps individuals who face troubles with their voice. Among Rama's clients are the who's who of the entertainment industry. So all you singers out here, make full use of this evening with Rama. Find answers to your questions on how to use your singing voice better, on how to sing without straining your voice, and how to use your voice with care. Not just that, you will see and hear how well the techniques shared by Rama work when you sing. For we have with us a wonderfully versatile singer, song composer, and performing artist, Himangi Vishwarup, who will sing and demonstrate those ideas at work. So welcome Rama, welcome Himangi.
Thank you so much, Krish. Absolute pleasure to be here.
Wonderful.
Yes, Hima.
Evening.
Hi, Himangi.
Your microphone is on mute and you can unmute. Yeah, just try again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, ma'am. Hi, Krish
Hi.
sir. Thank you for having me here. So excited.
Okay. Himangi, you can mute yourself, and then when we ask you, you can come. Yes, Krish, let's go ahead.
So, Rama, many singers and actors come to you for voice training or vocal.
Yes.
So, tell us, is the singer's voice more challenging than, say, an actor's voice? And if so,
Yeah.
why?
So basically, let me elaborate a little bit about all those people who use their voice. So it's not just singers and actors. There are voiceover professionals. There are teachers. I mean, every day, 8 hours they are using their voice. And then lawyers and everybody else who uses their voice for their profession, right? But among all of them, I think the singer's voice is kind of very challenging. Okay. Uh, and we actually call the singers vocal athletes, you know. So if talking is like walking, then singing is like running. So it's like really a challenging job to sing, primarily because um, the singing voice extends over many octaves, right? So you have the first octave, second octave, third octave, the lower octave, the higher octave, and all those things. Whereas a speaker's voice more or less, moves within this range, whereas a singer's voice moves much on the higher range. So that is a primary reason why the singer's voice is kind of lot more athletic than the normal person's voice. Secondly, when you sing, of course it happens with actors and voiceover professionals as well, is that you need to bring that expression or the emotion, right? And like what we call in music, the bhava has to be there, right? So if your voice, you're singing all the notes perfectly, you're catching all the rhythm, but if there's no emotion, there's no bhava, then the music has no value whatsoever, right? So that what we call the modulations, bringing those nuances, that's again a challenging job, right? It's there for actors and voiceovers also. They also need to bring the emotion. But again, remember they are in that nice octave, Now I'm talking, if you decode my voice in Saregama, I'll be somewhere like Saregama pa da, that's all. I won't even go to a Nisa or something. 4 or 5 notes is what I'm using as a speaker. Whereas singer uses 7 plus 7 and sometimes more on both sides. That's the second reason. And the third reason being that in singing, there's also the concept of rhythm, right? So there are certain songs which are fast, certain are slow, right? So you're bringing a kind of a, now if I talk to you this fast and if I'm going to, then it's challenging as a speaker as well. But nobody really speaks that way, and you can take your time. So I can take my time or I can take my time. So there's a minor thing that I can do. Whereas singing, there's a rhythm. We are following a rhythm, right? There's a beat, there's a rhythm. So that's a added dimension that you have to kind of take care. So again, your voice should be able to catch that rhythm, right? And fourth, there are so many nuances. Like you have a gamaka, you have a tan, right? So you do a sari, there's a gamaka. So how is that voice going? It's like if the singer's voice is going straight, the speaker's voice, singer's voice is going this way, right? So there's a gamaka going up and down, and then there's a tan, sari sari gari gamaka. So it's going fast, fast, fast. So these are the 3, 4 reasons why the singer's voice is kind of so very challenging and so very athletic as compared to the speaker's voice. And that's why um, when we learn music, ideally, we should also learn how to use our voice effectively. So here I'd like to elaborate a little bit. There's a right way and there's wrong way of using your voice. So when we sing, let me go more basic. So when we sing, what is it? All kind of music, classical, Western, Indian, film, all are same. In Hindi, if I say it's sur and tal, you hit the right notes, you catch the right beats, that's music. Okay. Sometimes there's a third dimension of speed or something, but it's more or less that. This whole knowledge of sur and tal and everything, it's here, right? It's not here. It's not in your voice. Voice is just your instrument. But that knowledge of music or whatever, it's right here. And what I call, actually, it's Shankarji's term, he calls it musicality. So musicality or musical skill, it's a skill like mathematics. So either I'm good at mathematics or I'm bad at mathematics. So it's like that. So once you have that, your voice is your instrument. And to apply that knowledge in your voice, again, is a challenging thing. Similar for speakers, if I'm having a thought process to be able to express through my voice. But since we do that day in and day out, we think, we talk, we feel, we talk, it's kind of more organic. Whereas singing is not something that throughout the day you're doing, right? It's not like you remember the old format of Natya Sangeet in Maharashtra, where the dialogues are also said in music. So it's a drama where the dialogue is a song, right? So we don't speak that way. So singing is always more challenging. So training the voice the proper way versus the improper way. So what is this proper way versus improper way? So if you go back and see a small child, he uses his voice really well. So he breathes well. When he breathes, you can see his stomach going up and down. And then he uses that breath really well. So when he screams or shouts, his voice is heard to the neighbors as well. And he can shout for 3, 4 hours, nothing happens to him. He's as fresh. We sing for 3 hours, we are finished by that time, right? So the whole method of using your breath, which is colloquially called as singing from the stomach. So when your teacher tells you sing from the stomach, you always sing from here, never from the stomach. It's called because he's telling you use your breath. So primarily, that's the technique that we need to learn. And uh, that's what we teach in voice gym as well, or anybody. Of course, it's needed for every category of speaker. And using your breath or singing from the stomach is a skill you need to learn apart from learning music, right? So music is like theory and this is like practical. And when you don't use your breath, all the pressure comes on your throat, and that's why you feel tired, your voice gets scratchy, and all those things happen. So ideally, if you've trained your voice really well, you can do a concert for 3 hours or 4 hours. None. That's what the professionals do, right? That should be the aim of every singer. So I think that challenge part is kind of very clear, right, Krish? You're muted, Krish.
So to summarize, you said that the singer's voice is more complicated than the actor's.
Speakers.
And to summarize, the range of notes when you speak is limited, whereas the singer has to straddle octaves maybe rather than a selection of notes. Then emotion and expression are involved. And third is tempo and rhythm is involved, and the nuances of singing, the oscillations, the gamakas, all those things are involved. So the singer needs to train the voice to sing better and without.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
brings me to another question. What are the core aspects of training a singer's voice? How do you do this?
So as I already mentioned, sorry, I got the answer for the second question in the first itself. One is to learn to use your breath, which is how to use your sing from the stomach. So the question most people might ask, am I not using it now? Am I singing the right way? So the answer to that question lies within you. So you have two things to know. If you get tired after 45 minutes, 1 hour of singing, then you're definitely not using your breath. Whereas if you're able to sing for 2, 3, 4 hours and still feel fresh, you're using your breath. How do you know? That's one thing. Secondly, when you use your breath really well, couple of things like reaching the higher and lower notes also become easy. Okay, so if you're struggling to reach a higher note or a lower note, then it becomes you're not using your breath. And your ability to project. So there are songs in which you need to be really loud, right? You need to project your voice. There's a powerful voice. So these are the few things. If you're not using that properly, you will realize it yourself. So what is this learning to use your breath and all those things? It's very simple. It's a technique that we are born with. When we speak as a child, nobody teaches you, okay, now use your breath, say sa, ma, nothing. It comes naturally. But as we become adults, we kind of lose that ability to use our voice primarily because we become shallow breathers. That again is because we have pretty sedentary lives. We might exercise for 1 hour, but 23 hours we are doing no physical activity. So our breathing capacity actually goes down. So as a singer, speaker, we need to get back into some sort of a breathing exercise regime where we learn to fill our lungs with more air, right? And then that's the first part. The second part is how to use it in singing. That's the second part. And that's a step-by-step process. As I said, that's what we teach in voice gym course. Okay. And that's the first aspect of what a singer needs to learn. Use your breath, sing from the stomach. Okay. I don't think I'll go into the detail of how we do that. Maybe if we have time, we can have that much later. The second and most important part of training a singer's voice, these are like very core and basic concepts. If you don't do this, you'll be in trouble. Second is identifying your fundamental pitch. Okay, so what is the fundamental pitch? This depends on the number of times your vocal cords vibrates. So what is voice? Voice is the vibration of your vocal cords, ideally to be caused by the air you breathe out. That's the scientific definition of voice. Now, the number of times your vocal cord vibrates depends on your length and thickness of your vocal cords. So we are all born with our own unique voice. Okay, so a lot of people come to me and they say, I want to become higher pitch, lower pitch. I want to be Lata Mangeshkar, Shreya Ghoshal, Amitabh Bachchan, and all those things. And I always tell people, your voice is unique. Why don't you celebrate it, right? So understand its strengths and its weaknesses and use it. So identifying one's own pitch, and then that doesn't mean you can't sing in different pitch. Of course, you can sing in different pitch. So, but there's a technique to that. So learning and understanding what's your ideal pitch, which is usually a speaking voice. Because as I said, when we learn to speak as a child, nobody tells you, okay, now you speak in G or C or A. No, we just talk, right? And when we sing, Indian classical music is so good. When you go to a teacher to learn Indian classical music, teacher listens to you and teacher says, oh, I think you should sing in C or you should sing in B, because she hears your voice and she realizes what's the ideal pitch for you, right? Of course, there's a method to find out what's your ideal pitch, but teachers are good. So if I'm speaking like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, my ideal pitch to sing will be sa re ga ma pa. That will be my ideal pitch to sing. But I can also sing in different pitch. But what we need to realize is there's a technique to that and there's a method to that. So the two core aspects of training the singer's voice is: one, learning using the breath; two, identifying your basic pitch and learning the methods to go on a higher or lower or pitch that you want, right? I think we can elaborate a little more on this pitch loudness, but Krish, go ahead.
So
basic aspects clear, right?
basic aspects are clear. Now, could you share any strict do's and don'ts to be followed by singers?
Okay, so before we go to that, let me elaborate a little bit on this pitch business. Okay, so what happens if you sing, say my pitch is G and I can sing in G, but if I want to sing in C and sing like Lata Mangeshkar, I can learn that. But what I need to do is I need to balance my loudness with that. So in my ideal pitch, I have the best loudness. And as I change my pitch, my loudness will change. So I think that's something Imangi can show us. So Imangi, what you can do is just do sargam, sarigama padanisa,
Okay.
and do it in A, B, and C.
Okay.
Huh? So probably knowing Imangi's voice, she'll be the loudest in B.
Okay.
Right? Or maybe A. Let's see.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah. So go with
Okay.
A first.
Okay. So the tanpura is set at A. Are you
Okay.
able to hear it?
Yes.
Okay. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa.
Let's go for B.
Okay. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa.
And C.
Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni dha pa ma ga re
Imangi, you could do D as well by reducing your loudness further. Go softer, go like super soft.
Okay. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa.
So guys, you saw that as she changed her pitch, her loudness changes, right? So all of us have a basic voice, and that's what we use in Indian classical music. Okay, so Indian classical music, you can sing in any pitch, G, B, A. That's not a contention at all, right? So we have singers like Shubha Mudgal who use such a low pitch, and then you have people like Kaushiki who's on a high pitch, but both are equally accomplished in their way. But what happens when we sing film songs is most film songs are based on a very high pitch song. That's the trend now in film songs. So you can, like Imangi could do a D. Okay, so if she's doing a Hindustani classical, she'll do A. If she's singing one of the film songs, she'll go to D and she'll sing. So what she learned was to alter her loudness. Okay. And one thing which if you had noticed, even the resonance changes. Resonance means what the tone of the voice, right? So resonance can be like this kind of a resonance or a very upper resonance nasal. So her tone also changed. So balancing resonance pitch loudness is the key to achieve many pitch that you can sing, and you can sing different forms of music as well. Okay. And I want to add a third nuance of singing, learning to sing, is the flexibility. So flexibility works in many areas. So what we demonstrated now was the pitch flexibility. You have different pitch, you have a flexibility over it. And then the higher version of the pitch is what people call the head voice or the falsetto. That's again a technique that you can learn. So you can sing even in much higher. But that voice again will have a different resonance and a different loudness to it. Okay. Flexibility in loudness. So whether you can project or not project. So voice training helps you to do all that. And third, flexibility in terms of the nuances. Your ability to do a gamaka or a tan or a maid or a harkat. Okay. So that also comes with voice training. So voice training happens in all these three different areas. And how do you know your voice is well trained? Go back to what we talked first. You can sing all kinds of range and you don't feel tired, then you know that your voice is well trained. And we also have to look for long-term endurance. Your journey as a singer is like 30, 40, 50 years. You need to survive that. And do you know a very interesting fact is that the voice actually never ages as much as your body. Of course, it ages, but it's not that fast an aging, right? So even at 60, 70, you can have a very youthful voice. And maybe it's only after that there's some signs of aging. So that's the beauty of a singer's profession is that you can go on for such a long time, provided you do the right things.
Wonderful. So, talking about endurance, so how do you preserve your voice? Are there any?
The do's and don'ts, right? So there are some very basic do's and don'ts. Okay, it's more like common sense, right? So if you're a singer, you talk less. You don't waste your energy in talking all the time, right? So if you keep on talking, you're tiring your voice, right? So you talk less. For singers, I have interacted with some singers who are so not talking at all, and they also talk very softly to you. So they don't want to waste their energy on these things. More importantly, do your breathing exercise. That's the do's and don'ts. Don't smoke because smoking, see, the voice is in your windpipe. It's part of your wind, where your air goes into the lungs and comes out. Your vocal cords are in your windpipe. So anything that you inhale, which is not good, including smoking, vehicular smoke, cooking smoke, all these things are not good for you. So anything that you inhale, you have to be very careful about how you do. And singing in the wrong pitch without training for it. If you haven't trained for a higher pitch, don't do that. If your voice is not loud, don't do that. Coming back to identifying your strengths and your weaknesses and working on your weaknesses, also a do and do, right? Apart from that, don't shout, scream, don't go to a football match and cheer over there. If you're a singer, go for the match, but be quiet. Don't go there and, make a noise. That's one thing. And Sleeping. So, sleep is something which I tell all my students. They come for early morning class, their voice, like that. I said, what happened? Oh, ma'am, by evening my voice is okay. I said, but what happened now? So I slept at 3. I got up at 6. So my voice. So, having good 8 hours sleep is very important for a singer because in sleep, your voice recuperates, it heals, it does all the things that it's supposed to do. So having good amount of sleep is very, very, very important. And sorry to say, but these days I think the kids sleep only by 2 or 3. That's become like the new 10 o'clock is the 2 o'clock, right? So sleep is very important, and drinking enough water is important because you need to keep your muscles and everything hydrated so they are flexible and they are moving. And doing enough warm ups is important. So don't get up and start singing. Do some sort of a warm up, not much, 5-10 minutes, some breathing exercise, muscle movements. Actually, Hindustan, our classical music has a warm up built in it. So when you start your singing, you never immediately go to the song. You do a little notes, you do some palta, you do some akar, ikar. These are all warm ups. So doing a little bit of warm up, that's very important. Basically, not overexerting your voice and preserving your voice is more importantly about do's and don'ts, and what you inhale, the smoke and everything, and doing the warm-ups. These are like the basic do's and don'ts for the voice.
So here's a question for all those singers here who are also music teachers. How do you really?
Ah, yeah, it's a tough call, Krish, because firstly, as a teacher, sometimes you have to teach in different pitch, right? One student is doing G, one is doing A, one is doing B. It's not that you can't do it. Absolutely, you can do it. But you have to, uh, again, as I said, balance out that loudness resonance part. Then you can do that. And you have to be a smart teacher, right? So the amount of singing that you do should be minimal, and the amount of singing that your student does should be more. So, Imangi or my other students will vouch. In my 45-minute class, I never talk, I never sing. I just tell them, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, and I preserve my voice. So, that's the way you need to do it. And another very important tip is if you can record your what you want to teach. I mean, SMA, we all have recorded videos, right? But in spite of that, if you can record you know that you're going to teach your student this thing today, or your student is weak in this particular rag or whatever. So when you have time, you record your voice and you keep it. So in the class, you don't sing, you play the recording. So that's a smart way of dealing. But yes, I have students who are kindergarten teachers and they are singers. And a really tough call, right? So they go there and shout. So I give them all kinds of tips which don't work. I tell them don't shout, use a whistle. But they say nobody's listening to the whistle, kind of. The students are all yelling. So sometimes I tell them, let them yell. You just quietly sit. You have that calm mind, they'll all quieten down. So it's a tough call. But teaching music is not so difficult because if you're a little smart, you can teach. And most importantly, if you're a teacher or not teacher, but more for teacher, you need to have those phases of voice rest in your day. So you're teaching, you're performing, you're practicing. You've exhausted your vocal capacity. You cannot afford to chat with somebody on the phone for half an hour. Sorry, you don't have that luxury, right? Or if you have small kids at home, you're a mother, you have 3 kids or 2 kids. You have to have strategies where you don't shout at them, you know, and you need to find other ways of disciplining them or getting the job done. I had one student, she was very good. She had play cards for her children. So she'll show them the play card. And then it became like a game for her kids. So they also started being quiet and, acting and muting and all those things. But she kind of preserved her voice. So you have to do all those things. And voice rest is something that's absolutely critical for all singers. If you have been singing for 6 days, you need that one day to rest your voice. So you should have one day where you don't sing. It's like a Sunday. I mean, everybody has Sunday off, right? But are you taking your Sunday off? It could be any day, Monday, Tuesday, but that one day where you don't sing at all is very, very, very important. And even better, what I do personally, I'll tell you, on a Sunday, from the time I wake up till about 1 or 2, I take voice rest. I don't talk. Okay, so everybody knows that I don't talk in the morning. Um, of course, I don't have small kids or anything, so it works for me. And I go about my work. So that half a day of voice rest, which I do every Sunday, it kind of compensates for whatever extra talking or singing that I'm doing through the week. Okay, so that's again very crucial. And again, as I said, sleep for a teacher as well. So I know in Shankar Mahadevan Academy, I think we're the only academy where a teacher takes a class at 4 a.m. It's commendable, commendable. And so backtrack and sleep by 8 or 9. Don't sleep till 3 and then come for the 4 o'clock class. So that sleep is very important. And uh, keeping that voice rest, drinking water, all these things are important. And as Krish said, it is a challenge. So you need to be all the more careful if you're a teacher and a singer. Definitely you can teach and your voice won't get spoiled. And go back. Have you learned to use your breath? Are you balancing your pitch and loudness resonance? Are you taking voices? So everything counts. Everything counts.
What about the food that you eat? So there's also
Ah,
thinking
I
of that.
was just
This,
I was just thinking that nobody should ask this question.
in fact, Raman has asked this question. What about iced drinks, tangy fruit juice, ice cream, very hot food or drink?
See, actually, your voice is in your windpipe, and the food you eat has no connection to your voice. It goes your windpipe and food pipe, and they're separated right over here. But common thinking is you feel food is also going from your voice is also comes. So you think that the food is touching your vocal cords and all. Not at all. So ideally, scientifically, what you eat and drink has no relevance to your voice whatsoever. You can do what you want. But, but if you have a belief, right? So here is what Imangi said about the subconscious. So if you have a belief that if I drink something cold, I'll get a sore throat, 100% you'll get it. Because your subconscious mind is telling your body, hey, you think cold is going to give you a throat infection, 100% you'll get. So I tell all the people, if you have beliefs, stick to it. You are not drinking A, B, C, D, eating A, B, C, D, works for you, great. But if you're tempted that, oh, they always tell me that singer, my friend, he does everything and nothing happens to his voice. Everybody says that. I said, because he doesn't hold any beliefs, because scientifically it doesn't really matter. But till you change your belief, don't do it. Because definitely you'll get into trouble. It's like standing in the middle of the road. Either go with your belief or go with changing your belief. If you stand in the middle, the truck will hit you and you will die. So don't do that. Right? So scientifically, it has no relevance whatsoever. But yes, having said that, if you eat all kinds of not good food and if you get acidity or if you get a regurg kind of thing, that affects your breathing. Because when you get a regurg, what happens is your breathing becomes shallow. Because what is deep breathing? Your lungs should be full of air and push your stomach out, right? So if you're having a lot of gastric issues, there's no place for your lungs to expand and fill them with food. Just below your lungs and the diaphragm is your stomach. So if that stomach is bloated and everything, you can't breathe. So then your breathing becomes shallow. And when your breathing becomes shallow, your voice becomes bad. It's not about the food, it's about the breathing. Okay. So if you can eat and drink anything and nothing happens to your stomach, like your stomach is rock solid, go ahead. So it's kind of very individual. Okay. But what happens is we are always comparing. Oh, that fellow is drinking ice and still singing. Why am I not drinking ice? So that's why scientifically nothing, but go with what works for you. That's what is more important, being a singer or eating that. So you decide.
So you have very romantic versions of singers with their connection with alcohol. What about alcohol and singing? How good or
So
bad?
alcohol again actually um, has no direct effect on your voice again, right? Because it's not touching your voice or anything that way. But what alcohol does actually is it relaxes your muscles. Anybody who's had a drink will know that it relaxes you, right? So it's a double-edged sword. So one thing, it relaxes you, and actually you might breathe better and sing better. But you might also be not having 100% awareness. So you might do all the wrong things like hitting the pitch that you're not supposed to hit, or you do the things wrong. So that particular event, you will sing beautifully, but you might have a backlash of going back and spoiling your voice. But again, as I said, there are singers who sing better when they sing, drink, basically because of the muscle relaxation that happens. Okay, the muscle relaxation, and also your calmer mind and no inhibitions, and which I don't know is good or bad, but yes, the inhibitions go down, and then you sing better. But in the long term, I feel that you will be abusing your voice unknowingly. Whereas if you're not, if you have full mental awareness, you'll know, oh, I'm going out of my range or whatever.
Wonderful. Yeah, that accept like
But
that.
Krish, there are people, singers who are smokers, and they also carry on. Okay, so in the end, yeah, the smoker will eventually land into trouble. But how long he persists, that's the thing. But that's a strict no-no. That's a strict no-no.
So I've read in places also that the singer, the great legendary singer Muhammad Rafi, he used to have almonds. And there are some who have warm water and honey. Some have pepper, clove, like Mr. Raman has put in the chat. What about that? Are these actually good for the voice?
So as I said, cold actually doesn't affect your voice. But if you see, the food pipe and windpipe are actually very close to each other. So as you know that when you put something cold, it contracts, right? When you put something cold, your muscles and skin contract. So when it's passing through, and your windpipe also contracts. So if I'm in a concert and I drink something cold, it's not good because that affects the flexibility of my voice. And reversely, when you drink something warm, warmth expands. So when you touch this, warm expands your muscles, and you can actually sing better with the expanded muscle. So scientifically, when you are doing a concert or when you are singing, warm helps you better. But once you're finished singing, you're going to sing only after 2 days. Cold doesn't matter because the cold sensation or whatever will pass in 2, 3 minutes. And we are warm blooded human beings, right? So your body will bring back that temperature again. We maintain the body temperature. So it's only while singing, it's not advised to drink anything cold. Singing something warm while singing is a good idea because it expands your muscle. And drinking something which has hydration is always good while you're singing because you're hydrated. So it could be plain water, warm water. Honey is good because honey has got a lot of moisturizing things. So when you're drinking something with honey, that's good. I personally don't advise pepper and ginger because they can irritate your upper throat, and you get that kind of a thing you get. So I personally don't advise that because they are harsh things. They affect your upper throat. Otherwise, honey. And remember, see, one more thing about food is think logically. When somebody says carrots are good for your eyes, so where is the carrot going anywhere near our eyes? You're eating the carrot. The good things in the carrot go into your blood, and through your blood, they're reaching the eye, right? The vitamin A or whatever. Similarly, what is good for your voice, like honey or whatever, goes into your blood, and through your blood, they're going to reach your vocal cords. And the vocal cords are like, I call them rubber bands. Our vocal cords are like rubber bands. So your vocal cord, guys, is only as long as this, and it's as thin as a rubber band. And it's as stretchy as a rubber band. That's why you can sing in A and C and D because it can stretch. So they are so thin, they need hydration. So hydration is the most important thing. So having well hydrated with water or anything that's liquid, that's primary to good singing through concerts and through everywhere.
Okay. So singers perform in different settings. How far does settings matter? So say a studio recording or a live show are two typical settings for a singer. So what care of the voice should a singer take during a studio recording as opposed to a live show?
Yeah, good question. So what happens is in a studio, if anybody has recorded in a studio, that's very cold because all the equipment and everything, we keep it cold, and it's also double doored and double walled. So you're like in a vacuum. Literally, the outside air doesn't come. It's like a vacuum. You're sitting inside a vacuum and you're recording. So you tend to get dehydrated very fast. Okay. It's very cold. That also dehydrates you, and you're in a vacuum. So again, a lot of hydration is very important when you're singing in a studio. That's the primary thing for the studio. Okay, so that water content. Yeah, some people tell me that I don't want to drink too much water because I need to take breaks to go to the loo afterwards. I said it's worth it. Drink the water because your voice will be kind of hydrated. And otherwise, studio recording, of course, there are nuances of how to use the mic and all those things. We're not going to go into that. But in studio recording, also that you don't need to exert your voice too much because the mic is here. You just need to sing here, right? So even loudness, you don't need to be really loud. You need to just like when you're taking a class, also always have a good headset. You know, good headset is very important. Give me a minute. Sorry. So good headset, what happens? I am speaking very softly, but the voice carries. Whereas if I use the computer audio, I have to speak so much, so I might tend to exit. So whenever you're learning online, teaching online, invest in a good headset. So you use only 20-30% of your volume. That's the ideal. So studio is that way very advantageous. But what happens in a live show or a kacheri or whatever is that it's a huge place and the audio system needs to be really good. Okay. So if your mic and audio system is not good, you tend to exert your voice. So be very clear that, you check and have the good technical person do the good audio and everything. That's kind of very crucial. And again, what happens in a concert is that you're going there for about 3 hours or 4 hours. You may have breaks, but if you're the solo singer, you don't have a break. So be like very ready to sing for longer hours. Again, hydration is important. And I find Bollywood shows, which people like Shankarji and all do, is very challenging because you're also singing, you're standing, you're dancing, you're interacting. Whereas a classical concert, you're sitting. So at least you're rested, right? Your body is rested. Here you're also. So work on your stamina. Are you having the stamina to stand there for 3 hours? So kind of work on that. But I remember once Shankarji had said that when I go on stage, I forget who I am. So, something takes me over and then I just go there and perform. So it's also a mind game, right? So when he goes there, he's so much in a different mind space that none of this matters. In the end, a lot about how you sing, how you use your voice is also your mind game, right? How you feel. Oh, I'm going to feel tired. Then you're going to feel tired. So mental strength, mental stamina, all these things play a role in being a performing singer, performance.
So, which brings us to the question of singing with strain or how to sing without strain. So, there's a question right here from Aruna that when I try to go to a higher note, my voice cracks on some days, but it is okay on some days. What could be the reason? How
It's
do I?
only that you're not using your breath. You're using wrong technique of singing. You've learned music, but you haven't learned how to use your voice. If you are going with the breath and flowing with the breath, you can reach any note. So that's not an issue. And probably you're going higher where you're not balancing the loudness. So if you keep the same loudness, sarigama, but then is a re gama, it's not going to work. When you go to re gama, loudness has to come down. So when you go above the second octave, you have to balance your loudness, resonance, and you only these two concepts. Breathe, balance your resonance, pitch, loudness. Learn how to use your voice. As I said, music is here, but you haven't learned about the instrument. You haven't learned how to tune your instrument, how to use your instrument. Learn how to use your instrument. It's a separate science. You have to learn that. I want to say here that in Western music, even today, you first learn voice for 2-3 months, then only the teacher will teach you music. And let me tell you that we had it in Indian music as well. Okay. So say 50, 60 years back when you went to learn music with your teacher, it's not just that you learn music. She taught you so many things, how to breathe and all those things. But of late, we have become like go for 45 minutes, learn the song, memorize the song, and sing the song. So you can't blame the teacher because you're not giving that. I remember when I went to learn music when I was 8 or 9, my music class never lasted for 1 hour. It was like after 1 hour you hang out there, then some senior students will come, they'll sing, you just sit there, you eat and drink in your teacher's house. So it was like 4 5 hours. Then our parents had to come searching, "Arey, why have we not come back?" Then they used to drag us home. So we were more involved, and the teacher taught us so many things beyond our class. But nowadays, even kids, they're going for so many classes where they have time to do all these things. So if your voice is cracking, learn to use your voice well. And nothing wrong with your singing ability. You have not tuned your instrument, tune your instrument. Yes, Himangi wants to say something.
I'm the biggest example for this particular thing. Before I met Rama ma'am, I used to have the same problem. I used to sing at A sharp, maximum till in A sharp scale. I used to go maximum until upper G or upper M. I used to crack. My voice used to crack at upper G and upper M. And then ma'am corrected my breathing. I didn't know. I didn't know that you're supposed to breathe. And once I corrected that, now I'm able to sing in all different pitches. So thanks to Rama ma'am.
Thanks.
It's about technique. If your voice is cracking, you haven't learned that technique.
Okay. So, in the abundance of classes that we have, music classes that we have, where there are a lot of trainers who teach music, perhaps, is some of the principles or some of the principles of voice training built into these our music courses?
Of course, of course, of course. See, when you learn Indian classical music, when your teacher teaches you the what we call in Carnatic the male style or the I don't know what you call in Hindustani. Himangi, what do you call the upper octave?
Tar Saptak.
Tar saptak, madhya saptak. Teacher automatically, without giving you so much explanation like I am giving, will herself reduce her volume slightly and take you there. So she'll do sa re ga ma pa da ni sa re ga ma. It's not the head voice. I'm just reducing my volume. So student listen to that and learn to reduce the volume slightly and reach over there. So it's inbuilt in our music system. And the paltas and in Carnatic, the Charali Varshay, Chanda Varshay that we teach, it also teaches you even talam. So when you do the beat, the tal, what is like 1 2 3 4? After 4, you're supposed to take a breath. That's why you have 1 2 3 4, right? So when you do 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, what is it? You take a breath after the fourth note. So the teacher may not tell you in so many ways, but she is doing it. So if you are observant, you will learn. Oh, my teacher is taking a breath here. And some teachers might also tell you how to do that and how to do that. It's absolutely inbuilt. We don't need to learn voice culture from the West. We had it in our we do yoga. So what's yoga is all about pranayam, breathing exercise. We had it in our country, right? So it's not that we have to learn from the West. Do breathing exercise, coordinate your breath. What is Brahmari? Brahmari. You exercise all these muscles when you do Brahmari pranayam. We had it, but our music learning was incorporated with so many things. You sit with the teacher, as I said, you probably learn some little yoga, but kind of we have lost it. Like with many other things in our country, as we have lost it, this is something that we have lost. So that's why we bring back the voice gym course to say, okay, can you learn it along with that so that you can, do a better kind of thing.
Okay. So coming to voice gym, how is the voice gym course different from other voice training programs?
Ah, very good question. So if you type on Google voice training, you get a lot of hits, 20, 30,000 hits. Okay. Last 10 years, you'll find a lot of Indian people also there. But if you went back 10, 15 years back, trust me, we had very few people in India doing it. Very few people. So I think we were like one of the first to start a voice training course in a music school. So that's kind of unique thing that we did. And that's a long story. I don't think we have time here, so we will cut it maybe on another day. Secondly, many voice training courses are not based on Indian music. So the uniqueness of our courses, we use Indian music to teach you voice. So our voice gyms course, right from the second class, you'll be singing. And what you're singing Sargam, Palta, from or Sarali or Chantai or whatever, from your second class on how to use your breath with that, how to get. So everything is based on our Sat Sur. Voice gym, every exercise is based on the Sat Sur. Every exercise. Trust me, we have 4 series. All lessons are based on Sargam. Whereas if you go for a Western voice training course, it's very difficult to adapt it back to Indian music. So we have adapted it to Indian music. It can be Carnatic, Hindustani, film music. So it's kind of adapted to all the aspects of Indian music. That's the uniqueness of it. And as I said, these are the two things. I think when nobody was thinking about voice training, we started in 2012. So imagine 12 years or 11 or 12 years. And then the beauty of it is how you can easily incorporate it into your Indian music singing. You can use it, incorporate in Western also. So we do have students who come, but basically it's tuned to Indian music. And that's, I think, is the beauty of it.
Wonderful.
And also those who are not learning too much, suppose you are not learning classical at all, but you're a hobby singer, you're singing film songs, then also it's useful to you. So what we have done in, I think, second and fourth course and third as well, is we have taken those aspects of Indian music, film music, folk music, and just taught you the skills. Like there's a lesson which is only on gamaka, how to do a gamaka. In Indian music, for you to learn a gamaka will take 3, 4, 5 years. But here you can learn it. Of course, that's a better way. But for those who don't want to learn classical music, but still want to really use their voice well, it's a good course.
So, which comes to some very interesting questions which have come up on the chat stream.
Just hold on. I think what we'll do is, since we're having a really good session here, let's continue as long as it takes. Okay? Let's not have that time frame. All right? So just give me one moment.
Okay,
I'll just reschedule my class.
wonderful.
Yes, let's go for it.
So, we have this question on how to adjust pitch to a when you're singing a duet with a female artist. A male is singing with a female artist. How does each adjust the pitch to the co-singer, as the pitches of the male and female are probably different?
So we come back to a very basic core concept of fundamental pitch. Okay, so my fundamental pitch is G. So I sing in G, right? So my voice is not very high. It's a low pitched voice. So when I was very much younger and I didn't know about voice and head voice and the falsetto and all those things, I used to sing only Kishore Kumar because my pitch was best suited to Kishore Kumar karaoke. So if I want to sing with a karaoke, I sing Kishore Kumar. If I sing with a live band, I sing Kishore Kumar. That was like fine. Till I learned that I can do a falsetto, so I can do Lata Asha, whatever. So one is understanding that this is my pitch. So if I am singing a duet with Sonu Nigam, I can't sing because Sonu Nigam has got a much higher pitch. Okay. So either he has to drop his pitch or I have to increase my pitch. So how much ever I increase with my falsetto, etc., it will come to a particular point. So when you're singing a duet, both the male, female singers should be able to come to a consensus that suppose I am here and they are here, so both of us can move a little bit. If this person refuses to move, I can't reach here because from here I can reach here, I can't reach here, right? And if you tell this person to come here, even he cannot come, it's too low. So it has to be. So if the original song is in, say, C, and you have a very low pitch, then you can take it probably in B, and then both of you can use. And again, you're learning to use your falsetto or head voice, which is a technique, is very important. So you can do the duet. So finding your duet partner is very important. So if you can find somebody with whom you can match that thing, then you're lucky. right? So understanding that this is my voice, it moves from here to here. It is not going to move here. How much ever I train, if I'm here, training will bring me here, but it's not going to bring me there. So that kind of understanding should be there, and you can sing. And choosing your song is also important. See, there are so many singers, right? So if you can't sing Sonu Nigam or Arijit Singh, sing Kishore Kumar, sing Manna Dey. Don't sing Rahat Fateh Ali duet with a male if you have a G sharp voice like me. I cannot do that. So I will choose to sing a Kishore Kumar duet so I can reach it. So choosing your song is also important according to your voice. And then, of course, balancing that pitch resonance, all that comes back to it. So does that answer your question? Hopefully, yes.
So there's another one about the terminologies that are used. People may be new
Ah,
to this. So one terminology is, there's a question here from Sargam Pandya. Request you to throw some light on head voice, stomach voice, falsetto. She says, I
ah,
usually struggle with deciding my scale, but now I think I've figured.
yes. So these are all terminologies. And I always tell people, ki don't get stuck in terminologies. Okay. And people mean different things when they say the terminologies. So for some people, stomach voice means using your breath. For me, when somebody says sing from your stomach, I would say it's using your breath. But for somebody else, they have related it to a lower pitch. Okay. And let me tell you, voice is only coming from here. It's not coming from stomach. It's not coming from your head. It's not coming from your head or anything like that. So what is this thing? In Western music, the pitch range is called as chest voice and head voice. So chest voice is your original voice, speaking voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. That's my chest voice. Sa re ga ma pa. That's my head voice, right? So maybe Imangi can show us in A, chest voice and head voice. Let's do Sargam Imangi. First octave, second octave. And if you can go as high as you can.
Okay. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa re ga ma ma ga re sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa.
Wow, so good, Imangi. Superb. Actually, her head voice is much louder. Today she's got a sore throat. Otherwise, even the top guy will be loud for her. So, terminologies, different genres of music use different terminologies. So, what happens? All that Western thing has come and we have got confused, right? So, when somebody says I'm using chest voice, stomach voice, head voice, what they are meaning is they are using low pitch, medium pitch, high pitch, high pitch. That's all. It's a pitch variation, which is called chest, stomach, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so many times stomach singing means using your breath. Chest means your basic voice or your speaking voice, which we very beautifully use in Indian classical music. We don't need any falsetto or anything like that. Falsetto is a Western concept. What is falsetto? Your higher octave. Sarigama Padanisa, the second Sarigama Panisa, and the third Sarigama Panisa. You can also learn it. Anybody can learn it. It's a technique. Once you go through the proper training for that, you can learn that. And that's just terminology. Very interestingly, I'll tell you, once a boy had come to me, he said, ma'am, I can sing from my toe to my knee to my stomach to my head. So I said, okay, so interesting, show me. So he just went from the lowest to the highest. So what? So you equate it to body parts or whatever. So in Western music, we also call something called as registers, if you have heard. And if you sing in a choir, they have different registers, right? You have, I don't even know the names, but they're like kind of registers. So what is it? It's again various pitch. So somebody is singing in this pitch, then higher tenor and falsetto and soprano and all those things. So they sing beautifully. They identify your basic voice and then they're putting in those various categories and then they sing their part and the others sing their part. So it's kind of beautifully blended into all that. So come back. Don't get confused by the terms. Just identify your basic pitch. What is your basic pitch? So there are two ways of identifying. The one in which you can take equal notes on both sides. You do sa to sa, 2, 3 notes on top, 2, 3 notes on down, below the sa, with full loudness. That's your basic voice. And all of us can sing 2 octaves, sa to sa and 2, 3 and 2, 3. 16, 14 to 16 notes, 12 to 15, all of us can do. That's your basic pitch in which you have maximum loudness. That's your basic. For me, it's G. I can do sa to sa and re ga ma and ni da pa. That's my basic voice. If I want to go above the da, I have to use my falsetto or my false voice. And in Indian music, as we know, we don't use the false voice as much. But if you're doing film voice or thing, you can do that.
Now I want to.
Hopefully,
Sorry. Yeah.
hopefully that answers the question.
So there's one common problem faced by adolescent boys, the voice
Mm,
crack. How do they
mm.
deal? First is there is an emotional angle of dealing with it because they no longer are able to sing as well as they.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. You know, when all children, boys and girls, have a higher pitch voice because their vocal cords are shorter. So as the boy grows and he reaches puberty, his hormones change, right? So there's a change in the body as your hormones change. So the vocal cords actually become longer. You grow a beard, right? And then all changes. It happens to girls as well, but in boys, it's kind of drastic. So when your vocal cord size changes considerably, you can't anymore talk in the higher pitch because your vocal cords are not going to. So you go to this pitch. It's called the cracking. So every boy goes through this. There's a phase when he's using both the voice, the old voice, new voice. Nothing needs to be done. Body takes care of it. And after some time, he has the low pitched voice. And as you said, it's emotional. It's also change. So much change is happening in his body actually at that time. And ideally, I don't think it happened in our time, but parents can counsel them not just about the voice, everything else. The body is changing, so you need counseling. And it's more difficult for boys who are learning singing because they are used to singing in a particular pitch. They are singing in G or A or C, and then suddenly they are dropping to an F or something like that. So just need to explain to the boys that you have now become from a small boy, you have become a man now, and you have such a wonder. So you need to be positive by saying, hey, you have such a lovely voice. But look at all the male singers, they all have male voices, right? So just lower your pitch. And so if you're learning classical music, you need to change your pitch. You need to change your pitch drastically. Surprisingly, women also, when they go through that teenage, even their voice changes slightly. So they also, you lose half an octave because even they have a change. It's not drastic like the boys. So if I'm singing in G, I need to go to F sharp or, I need to drop half an octave. Very important. And as you said, Krish, teenage is an emotional time. And then you need to work on your voice and overall everything else. And I think most teachers will know that you need to change your pitch. But I do have one or two, I did have one or two boys who, I don't know whether it's the teacher or them, they didn't want to change the pitch. And then they developed so many issues. And after a lot of counseling and thing, then they changed the pitch and they were fine.
So now we come to a question from Siddharth Nandakumar. He asks, is it possible to go to a different pitch without changing loudness?
No, it's not. So your 2 octave, your central, is what will have the maximum loudness. After that, it will change. That's how your vocal cords work. It's physics. Okay? It's not rocket science. It's very simple that your pitch depends on, as I said, the length and thickness of your vocal cords and the number of times. So pitch is the number of times it vibrates per second, your vocal cords. So my vocal cords vibrates 220 times per second. That's ideal. But if I want to go to 300 times vibrating, if I want to go to C, I need to shrink or shorten my vocal cords, right? So I do the technique of shortening my vocal cords which I learned through not seeing that, but by listening. So in that process, the loudness will be lost. Okay, so if you actually take how the human voice works, if you plot loudness to pitch, loudness to pitch, it's a bell curve. So the center will have the maximum loudness. As you drop your pitch and as you increase your pitch, the loudness will go. That's how it works. It's like asking, can I grow 3 inches taller? No, I can't. I can wear high heels for 3 inches, and then my walk is not going to be as good as when I walk with flats. Right? So my muscles which work differently for heels and my muscles which, so if I want to run fast on the station and catch my train, I have to wear flats. I can't wear heels, and it's like you saying that I can wear heels and run and catch my train. No. I'm telling you this because in my early days, I used to go by Mumbai local, and I used to always wear flats because otherwise I can't catch the train. And if we had an event, we would carry our heels in our bag, go there and wear it. So it's very similar to that.
So tell me another thing. How much do we unconsciously pick up? How many principles of voice, using the voice, do we pick up by listening and mimicking renowned singers?
It's actually you pick up a lot. As I said, we are all born with the ability to breathe a lot of air into our lungs and to use the breath. So if you look at a small baby crying, he has brilliant voice, right? And that's why in India, we also teach music at a very early age, 4, 5, 6, where you don't need any voice training because the child is already using his voice beautifully. He just has to learn music. That's all. And then the technique follows. That's why we have this system of learning music very early, right? And from your teacher, it's like Krish, any other learning. So a teacher who is brilliant is knowingly, unknowingly exhibiting number of skills. The brighter ones will pick up. Some may pick up, some may not pick up. So just by, there are so many people who just learn how to breathe, how to use your breath just by watching their teacher. So you do learn. Music is, at least in India, we have listen and learn, right? Teacher sings, you listen and you learn. That's how we used to learn. It was much later we used to get notations and all. But in the very beginning, you just listen and you just learn. So that's a skill. So you do pick up a lot if you're attentive, conscious. And trust me, most good music teachers, they may not be able to tell you in the kind of terms that I tell you, but they know the techniques. If you ask them, they will teach you for sure. I'm 100% certain of that.
So Siddharth again asked the question, does my vocal pitch change throughout my life or does it stay the same?
After puberty, for a very long time, it should not change. Till you are 60, 70, depending on how well you maintain your vocal health and physical health, it's with your breathing. If you're still having good lung power, the pitch should never change. As I said, voice doesn't age. But at some point, you will again drop half an octave, 1 octave, much later, much later. So if you listen to Lataji, for a very long time, she maintained her original pitch. Very long time. Very, very long time. I don't know, maybe till 75, 80, I don't know. It was only in the last few days she dropped maybe a little bit and still she would sing. Same goes for Asha Bhosle and Vani Jairam. And till the Vani Jairam is until in the end, she was using her, pitch when she used at 20, she was still using it when, till her last days. So actually your pitch should not change. So if your pitch is changing, something is wrong. Think about it. Maybe you're doing something wrong or something is going wrong. You need to find out.
Another interesting question. So you heard the singers in the Gurudwaras. The strength of the voice, how does that come? Without the mic, they can sing and they are heard in the far corners of the world.
Yeah. So there are a couple of points over here. Number one, if you sing in your fundamental pitch, all of us have loudness. Okay. We don't realize it. So if you're using your basic And how to identify your basic pitch. As I said, equal notes on both sides, loudness. So many times, loudness is the marker. So people ask me, what's my best pitch? I said, the one which you're loudest, that's your best pitch. Okay. So that's one thing. Second, lot of loudness depends on lung power also. You know, Krish, with music, everything is lung power. Lung power is the currency.
Mm.
So you want loudness, you need air. You want to reach a higher pitch, you need air. You want to do a gamaka, you need air. Melody also depends on air. So I'll digress a little bit, come back to the pitch part. Um, so when you say somebody is melodious, what actually it means they're not taking too many proper breaths. So if I sing simple song, mm, बीती ना बिताई रहना विरह की छाई. So everywhere at this, I took a breath. So, but if I can sing बीती ना बिताई रहना विरह की, alas, but that I didn't take that first break. That's more melody. So if I had more air, I can do more. So at the end of the sentence, the lesser breath breaks you bring, melody will come. So coming back to the Gurudwara, lung power, finding their ideal pitch, these are the two like scientific parts of the loudness. Third is some people are born with loud voices, right? We know that, right? Some people have soft voice. So that's something which I tell everybody. Recognize your things. No, you may not be a loud singer. Let it be. But you'll have some other positive thing about your voice. Correct? That person has loudness. He'll not have something else. Why compare? You do your bit, he does his bit. That's the third part, the genetic thing, what you're born with. Somebody has brown eyes, somebody has black eyes. Can't do anything about it, right? And the fourth, I think, is very important, is the body can achieve amazing things if something is right over here. So I think that bhakti which they have there, no, that gives them the power. It's like people walking on coal. How do they walk? They don't burn their feet at all. It is that feeling they have for God or whatever. They trust that it's not going to happen. So I always found, whether it's Gurudwara, temple, or even the dargahs, I mean, they have such amazing voice, singers in the dargah. So religious places, I think that bhakti and bhava gives them something from inside that makes them sing that way. And it's not a superficial thing that, oh, I'll feel that. That has to come from within you, right? So it's like people who climbs mountains to reach the God. You think how they're not feeling tired, right? But they're climbing that mountain, nothing happens to them. And by the time here I climb the Trombe hill, my legs are paining. So it's that bhakti that happens over there, right? People roll on the thing. So it's all in the mind. The mind gives them that power to do it. But having said that, I think it's to do with finding your pitch, your breath, and your intrinsic, what you're born with. These three things.
Now there's a question from Radha. I can use the head voice while doing the head voice exercises, but I'm unable to use that in Carnatic compositions. Is there a way or a technique to incorporate head voice in Carnatic compositions?
No, actually in Carnatic and Hindustani, you shouldn't be using the head voice. See, a very traditional teacher will not allow that. See, using the falsetto is not part of Indian music. Okay. Though you can use, there's nothing wrong. These days there's fusion and people are using. Like I always love Kaushiki. I mean, she sings in 3 or 4 octaves. She is using her head voice, but so well developed that it sounds as good as her first octave. Okay. So in Carnatic also, those who know Tamil, they'll know that poi choral you should not use. We call it poi choral, means jhuta voice. Poi is false, or lies. Why do you want to use your head voice in Carnatic? Because most compositions fall within 2 octaves, no? So you just need to change your pitch so that you can sing the composition within that. See, in Carnatic music, we don't go about 2.5 octaves, most of the compositions. So you just have to vary your pitch Instead of using falsetto, I would say use the loudness variation, which is the pre-step to using the falsetto. So if I do sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, I change the loudness. Da ni sa re ga ma ga re sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So use that loudness variation so you can get one or two notes on top. And to get one or two more, you can even use a little higher resonance, like sa re ga ma pa da ni, sa re ga ma, sa re ga ma. It's not nasal, but you can make out that it's coming more from here. Sa re ga ma pa da ni da ga ma. So it's coming from here. Whereas if I use da from my mouth, sa re ga ma pa da, it will not come. Ni sa re ga ma pa. So changing your loudness and resonance a little bit. I think any Carnatic Kriti you should be able to sing pretty. See, the thing about Indian music, you're showcasing your musical skill. Of course, voice is important, but how well you handle the raga, the Kriti, those things. Same with Hindustani, the bhava and all those things. And of course, a great voice attracts great audiences. So I hope that.
Yes.
But I still feel, why can't you use it in Carnatic? Saregama, Padanisa, Regama for Indian, Western, Carnatic, all same, no? You should be able to use. If you're okay with going thin in Carnatic Kriti, use it. I tell you, one reason why you may not be able to use it is when you're singing Carnatic, you probably are going with more loudness, so you're not able to use your head voice. To use your head voice, you have to drastically reduce your loudness, then only you can use it. But Carnatic music is a projectile form of singing, no? I remember very early my teacher used to say, again Tamil word, in your voice, ganam. Ganam means weight. So she says, ganam is not there means you're no good. So you need to bring that. So falsetto cannot have ganam. So I hope that answers your question.
Tell me one thing, in the voice gym course, is there a kind of a progression from 1, 2, 3, 4 levels? You said there are 4 levels. So
Absolutely.
how do I know where I have to join, or perforce do I have to go through all 4 levels?
You have to go through one because one is basic. You learn breathing coordination, resonance pitch, you learn about that. So that's kind of basic. You have to take that. There is a progression. Second, teachers of the head voice and certain other techniques. And then third is all about rhythm, how to identify the beats and how to use your voice for different tempo, fast, slow. It's all about rhythm. It's a rhythm course. And then fourth is, of course, a advanced course of all these skills, but at a higher level. So, and in different genres, which all skills that you use. So if you're already an accomplished singer, some of the skills you might already know. And you might feel, oh, why am I learning this? But there is an organic way of going through all that 1, 2, 3, 4. So few lessons might seem redundant to you, but I would say still learn it because even those things which you know, you can improve a little bit.
Okay. So Tota Swarna, she asks, is the right age to put my is it the right age to put my 7-year-old child in voice gym? Sometimes in higher octaves, she struggles. She's in
We had
Karnataka.
actually kept a cutoff as 9 or 10 for voice gym for the simple reason that to understand all the concepts, theory, and all, we need the child to be a little older. But sometimes we do take 7-year-olds also. If the child is already learning music and he can do simple sargam well, and they can do the paltas, charali, chantai, little geetam, little songs, bandish and all, then so two things are there, age and how much music the child knows. Because as I said, voice gym is based on the 7 notes. So we will not be teaching you Sarigama Padani. So you should already know that when you come there. Because we are teaching you the voice. So yeah, it's a good, in fact, the earlier you learn, you won't develop faulty habits. You'll develop the correct habits, right? So I think you can connect to our counselors. They will assess the child, and if they seem the child fit, they'll put you on to the virgin course.
Now, Himangi, would you have any questions? You've been patiently sitting and listening. And would you like to?
Oh, she gave such good demonstrations, my.
All thanks to Rama ma'am. Okay, so I've experienced this multiple times, that before the show, sometimes I lose my voice. So if I have a show tomorrow and today I lose my voice, what do I do? Is there something I can do, or do I have to go ahead and cancel my show?
Yeah, good question. So we have to go a little backwards and see why you lost your voice, right? So there are multiple things over there. One is over rehearsing. Again, you're overusing your voice. So if you're rehearsing, like today is your show, yesterday you can't sing for 7, 8 hours, no? So 2, 3 days before, prevention is better than cure. Do your rehearsals, everything as much as you want, and give a gap of 1 or 2 days where you completely rest your voice. You'll never lose your voice. So 2 days before your show, if you stop singing, stop talking, you'll never lose your voice. That's the number one. Second thing, there are some people, like all of us have this, our voice is our sensitive part. Like for some people, stomach is sensitive. The minute you eat something, you'll get a stomach upset. And then there are other people who eat everything and nothing happens to them, right? And there are some of us who get cold cough very often. So each body is kind of little different. And if you're the person who gets cold cough often and your voice is your sensitive part, then you need to be even more careful, right? So not rehearsing too much 1 or 2 days before is the key. But God forbid it has happened, what to do, right? So just go ahead and sing if your voice is giving you the performance. Yes, afterwards you'll have a really bad voice for 1 or 2 days. So some things that help, or if you're having a cold cough and all, take the proper medication and everything. I know we don't like to take antibiotics and all, but go to the doctor and if you're having sore throat and all, medicate yourself because show is there. And the thing that helps, very ironically, is drink something cold. So what happens that it kind of numbs your part, and then you don't feel the pain and you can actually sing. Alternately, sing something hot or cold. See what works for you. Sometimes cold. I have people for whom the cold works better. And other thing that will help to open up your voice a little bit is doing hot packs. Take warm water, put your towel, and just give that warmth over here. So it kind of expands your voice a little bit. And drinking that water and all that. At the end of the day, show must go on, so don't cancel. Go there and sing. And if you're a good singer, voice will come through. You'll find ways, you'll reduce your pitchlet, you'll reduce your thing, you'll choose your song, you'll change. So be creative. See now with this bad voice, what songs I can sing. So go ahead. Performance should always go on. Never, ever, ever cancel your show. Just go ahead. Yeah, next 2 days you might be in a bad shape, but you can recover from it. Drinking warm, all these things, just figure out what works for you. Go ahead and do it.
Thank you. Great tip. Thank you so much.
So there is Vanya Himatramka who asks, I have a cold permanently because of a few allergies. Will it affect my singing voice when I grow up?
Yes, because when you have cold, there is some amount of congestion in all these things, right? So this congestion means there may be swelling or those things, and those are not good. So you must go and find a solution for your allergies and cold if you want to be a singer. Whatever that solution is, doctor, Ayurvedic, homeopathic, people have different things. You need to find that. Okay, so that's not a good thing. And breathing exercise will help you in allergy also and improving your voice also. So have a good breathing exercise regime and drinking water, sleep, and all that. And you need to find that cure for your allergies because without that, at the physical level, it's going to affect. It's like saying, my calf muscles are paining a lot. Can I run the marathon? Obviously, no. So I need to see that why my calf muscles are paining. I need to take the medication and be in perfect fit. As I said in the very beginning, singers are vocal athletes. So you have to be as well trained physically as an athlete.
Okay. So that's all the questions that we have for today. I thought I'll just play one message from Shankar Mahadevan.
Oh, wow. Let's go for it.
So he essentially talks about the Voice Dim program and why it came into being.
Yes, fantastic.
Share screen.
Just like sportsmen need to train their bodies in order to play some sport and excel in that sport, singers are vocal athletes. They also need to train their voice, they need to nurture their voice so that they are able to maneuver their voice over all those notes very easily. In order to do that, we have a fantastic course at the Shankar Mahadevan Academy called the Voice Gym. The Voice Gym does the job of training your voice so that your voice becomes easily maneuverable amongst all the notes and you're able to sing with ease. So Voice Gym with the Shankar Mahadevan Academy.
So that was that.
Wow. Wow, lovely video.
Interestingly, he used the word maneuverability. So that's what
Yeah.
you said by flexibility, right?
Yeah, see, in the end, I want to say one thing, I'm so ever grateful to Shankar Mahadevan Academy because when I was a Carnatic singer and in the initial phases, I had so many questions about why, like Himangi, why my voice is not working and all those kinds of questions when I was very young. And then when I took up my graduation course, I didn't know that this is what I'm getting into. So when I did my audiology and speech therapy, part of speech is also voice. So when the first day I learned about the voice, it was like, oh, now I know what my voice is. So that's all the scientific part. And then for a very long time, I was involved myself in only treating those people who had a voice problem, like a nodule or a polyp or whatever. But since I was a singer, God bless my parents who put me in party class or music class when I was 7 or 8. I hated it at that time, but God bless them. So then I realized, yes, there is music. I understand the music part of it. I learned for a good 15 years Carnatic music. And then I said, oh, this is how the voice needs to be used. And I said, oh, I'm so blessed. I can incorporate the art and the science together and I can train people. And for a very long time, I was doing my voice training courses, not just for singers, actors, and everything. But how do people know about me? They don't know. So for a very long time, we do the usual things. People know, people come. And then singers, I was particularly interested because I thought that being a singer myself, and then also, I could incorporate. So most therapists don't know about singing, and most singers don't know the scientific aspect. So I thought, oh, this is God's gift. I know both. And then to make people understand that this is what is needed. In how in India it's no, oh, we are going for music class. Their teacher teaches me everything. We don't need any voice training. So, but look at the vision of the Shankar Mahadevan Academy. Shankarji, Sridhar, they saw the value in this. And when nobody started it, they started it. And I'm ever grateful because what a craft I had, it could go out to the world, right? So many times people ask me, oh, you have so many all these clients. Are you still teaching in Shankar Mahadevan Academy? I said, yes, till my last breath, I will be there because that's where my joy comes from, because every day I meet new singers, new people, new boys, new girls, and then there's a pleasure of teaching them something which I am so passionate about. Okay. So I think 3 cheers to Shankar Mahadevan Academy.
Okay. So for all of you here who probably are interested in Voice Gym, if you want to know more about the program, please write to admissions@shankarmahadevanacademy.com. So with that, we come to the end of the show. Thank you all for joining us this evening on The Singer's Voice. What a wonderful way to celebrate World Voice Day together. And no matter who you are or where you come from, your voice has the power to touch hearts, uplift spirits, and change the world. So keep singing and keep sharing your voice with the world. Until next time, take care and happy World Voice Day. Thanks, Rama, and thanks, Himanshu.
Thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll very soon make this recording available on Facebook channel of Shankar Mahadevan Academy and on YouTube. Please do have a look. Thank you.
Mani